I'm on the 106th floor of the World Trade Center. We just had an explosion.
There's a fire on the next floor. I love you, too. I love you. I don't know if I'm going to be okay here. I love you so much.
Many of these calls have never been heard in public and are featured here for the first time.
Mom, it's Steven. My plane, my building got hit by a plane, and right now it's, I think I'm okay, I'm safe now, but it's smoky. I just want to say how much I love you.
I just wanted to let you know I love you, and I'm stuck in this building in New York. There's lots of smoke, and I just wanted you to know that I love you always.
I was the last person from the outside world that she spoke to.
On September the 11th, Bob Harrington's daughter Melissa was in New York for just one day. Aged 31, she was a high-powered business executive and was there to oversee the merger of her company. The meeting was on the 101st floor of the North Tower of the World Trade Center.
Jill, there's a fire on the next floor. I love you, too. I love you. I don't know if I'm going to be okay here. I love you so much.
We found nothing of Jim. He was completely destroyed. So the fact that I'd spoken to him means so much to me. It's important to let people know what families of 9/11 have been experiencing, what we've been going through, what we've gone through. We still have those memories that we don't want anybody to ever forget.
Jill Gartenberg had just started a family with her 35-year-old husband, Jim. A successful real estate executive, Jim had recently accepted a promotion at a new company. On September the 11th, he had only gone in to clear his desk at his office on the 86th floor of the North Tower.
September 11th started like any other morning. Woke up, put a pot of coffee in. I was making the bed and the telephone rang. It was my daughter, Melissa. I knew she was in New York. I didn't know anything that had happened at that particular point in time. Melissa was a little hysterical. I told her, honey, you have to slow down so that your father can understand what the problem is. She said to me, Dad, I'm on the 101st floor of the World Trade Center and a bomb just went off. In my bedroom was a TV set. I turned it on, happened to be on CNN. I saw the fire, I saw the smoke. She told me the fire wasn't her major concern, but there was an awful lot of smoke. So I said to her, honey, I said, can you see an exit sign? She said, yes, Dad. And I said, well, under all the exit signs, honey, are stairwells. I said, you get to that stairwell as fast as you can and get out of the building.
But unknown to Melissa and her father, all three of the stairwells had been destroyed. Trapped just 3 floors above the impact zone, Melissa would have no means of escape.
We exchanged I love yous, and to my knowledge, I was the last person from the outside world that she spoke with.
Jim Gartenberg had accepted a better paid job at a new company 4 days earlier. Welcome news, as his wife Jill was pregnant with their second child. September the 11th was his last commute to work at the North Tower.
I went to work soon after he did, and my office is very close to our apartment, so I just walked the few blocks. When I got there, there was a message light blinking, and I listened to the machine right away.
Jill, there's a fire on the next floor. I love you, too. I love you. I don't know if I'm going to be okay here. I love you so much.
I listened to the message actually several times because I wasn't really sure what he was saying. I couldn't believe what he was saying. Just a minute later, I spoke to him. Unlike the message on the machine, which sounded frantic, when I first spoke to him, he sounded very calm, very controlled. He said to me, I'm gonna be okay. You know, there's a fire, but I'm gonna be okay. And he said I said, stay down low. I mean, right? What we learned, stay down low if there's a fire. And he stayed down low, and he was hiding behind a desk, and he was trying to call for help, and he had no idea what was going on.
Jim Gartenberg was on the 86th floor of the North Tower. Although he was 6 floors below the point of impact, Jim and a colleague were trapped by debris as the floors collapsed above them.
It was very unusual that people outside had almost a greater sense of alarm and urgency than the people inside who were in the dark.
15 minutes after the North Tower had been hit, most people in Tower 2, the South Tower, were still at their desks and watching the tragedy unfold. Amongst them was 24-year-old trader Brad Fetchett, who left a message for his mother to tell her he was safe.
Hey Mom, it's Brad. Just wanted to call and let you know, I'm sure that you heard that a plane crashed into World Trade Center 1. We're fine, we're in World Trade Center 2. I'm obviously alive and well over here, but obviously a pretty scary experience. I saw a guy fall out of probably the 91st story all the way down. So, you're welcome to give a call here. I think we'll be here all day, but give me a call back later. Love you.
He was trying to reassure us that he was okay, but you could tell as he cleared his voice when he talked about seeing someone fall from the 91st floor that there was a lot of fear in his voice.
8 floors above Brad in the South Tower was 42-year-old systems analyst Shimmy Beagleisen.
Ma, don't worry, I'm fine. And I said, please don't waste any time. I know all about it. Get out. And he said, listen. And he put the receiver up to the loudspeaker, and I heard the announcement, do not leave your office. This building is secure. As we hung up, my nephew called, and he was practically incoherent. He said, Shimmy, Trade Center. I said, Shimmy is okay. And as I said, okay, I never got the K out because I saw the plane hit the other building.
1690, we just got a call. The caller hung up, but he said a new explosion just happened at 2 World Trade Center.
At 9:03, 17 minutes after the North Tower was struck, United Airlines Flight 175 flew into the South Tower.
Mom, it's Steven. My plane, my building got hit by a plane, and right now it's, I think I'm okay, I'm safe now, but it's smoky. I just want to say how much I love you, and I will call you when I'm safe. Okay, Mom? Bye.
Stephen was with us for 33 years, and we have a choice. We can either say we are so mad that he's not here, or we can say we had him for 33 years, and we have a feast to return to, the feast of the memories. Stephen worked in the South Tower. He was on the 89th floor. He said that he was going to call me and that he was going to be all right. I just went out in the backyard and I sat in a plastic, those $5 plastic chairs under a tree, and with the phone in my lap, preparing myself for what I would need to face.
In the North Tower, the first to be hit, Jim Gartenberg had been trapped by falling debris for more than half an hour. Having spoken to his wife, Jill, and best friend, Adam, Jim now wanted his predicament to be known to the watching world. At 9:32, 45 minutes after the North Tower was hit, Jim went live on air.
Jim Gartenberg joins us. He was on the 86th floor of, I'm not sure which tower. Was it the North or South, Jim?
It's World Trade Center 1. And it's not was. I am here, and I'm stuck right now.
And what time did you get?
I'm on the air. I want to tell anybody that has a family member that may be in the building that the situation is under control for the moment, and the danger has not increased. So please, all family members, take it easy.
I think that was wonderful, but I knew in my heart he was not going to be okay.
By 10 o'clock, the rescue operation had made very little progress. The fire department had been blighted by malfunctioning radio receivers within the towers. But that silence was about to be broken.
Battalion 7 on floor 40 of Tower 2. We got one elevator working up to the 40th floor, staffed by a member of Line 15.
The man who repaired the radio receiver was 45-year-old Oreo Palmer. As he entered the South Tower, he single-handedly fixed an elevator and took it to the 40th floor, halfway to where almost 700 people were struggling to stay alive.
He started to climb on foot, and because he was a very, very fit man, he was able to make tremendous progress.
We're on the 43rd floor. Here's stairway B. Unfortunately, trying to get up, Oreo. I'm up to 5'5".
He went 12 floors in 10 minutes, wearing all the bunker gear, which at 50 or 60 pounds.
We're going to have to host it. I'm on 69 now, so we need a higher bank, please. These stairway walls have been compromised on 73 and 74. The walls are breached, so be careful.
During his ascent, Palmer discovered that one stairwell, the south, was still intact all the way to the impact zone and beyond.
The 78th floor in the South Tower was the bridge point between living and the dead. It was a transfer spot in the elevator system, and a lot of people had mass there. And when the second plane hit, a lot of them were killed outright, a lot of them were injured and waiting for help.
We got tanks. I saw in the pockets of fire. We should be able to knock it down with 2 lines. Where you know that? 78th floor, numerous 1045 code lines. 478. That's all of it. Numerous civilians, there's 2 engines up here. All right, 10-4, we're on our way.
7 minutes after Palmer's last words, the South Tower would collapse. There is one 911 call which captures this moment from inside the building. It highlights the moral complexity of hearing the suffering of those trapped. From the 105th floor of the South Tower, father of 3, Kevin Cosgrove, was still speaking up until the moment when the tower fell.
Smoke, right there, 105, 2 power. All right, sit tight. We'll get to you as soon as we can. Yeah, he's staying up, but the smoke's really bad, man. It's barely leave. That's all we can do. Where are you? What floor are you guys up to? We're getting there. Doesn't feel like it, man. I got young kids. I understand that, sir. We got lots of people up here. I understand. I know you got a lot in the building, but we're up on the top. Smoke rises, it's really good. We're on the floor, we're in a window. And then I had to barely breathe now. Can't see. Okay. Just try to hang in there. I'm going to say this to you. So you're in an air-conditioned building. It's really bad. It's black. It's iron. We're young men. We're not ready to die. I understand. We're looking at financial center. 3 of us, 2 broken windows.
His building began to collapse. It was the first one to fall. Some people said, you know, hearing Kevin's words has made the events of 9/11 more human for them, that there were really people in there and it wasn't just buildings.
After 62 minutes, the South Tower, although the second to be hit, was the first to fall. Almost 1,000 civilians and firefighters died. Along with Kevin Cosgrove, they included Brad Fetchit, Shimmy Beagleisen, and Stephen Muldery.
George, have them mobilize the army. We need the army.
Although the first to be hit, the North Tower was still standing. For those with loved ones trapped inside, the collapse of the South Tower was a terrifying premonition.
My wife Beverly was working, teaching school in Chicopee. I had to drive to Chicopee to inform my wife that Melissa was in the North Tower. We were listening to the whole thing on the radio when we were driving back, and on our way home, the North Tower collapsed. My wife asked me to shut the radio off. I shut the radio off, and we came home and cried together.
When the North Tower collapsed, 1,402 civilians were killed.
The world doesn't stop for every tragic loss of life. And, you know, I kind of wish the world could.
When Jim passed away, I was 3 months pregnant. She has his personality, she's quick-witted, and her sense of humor is just like him.
You're fast. Good job.
So knowing that, you know, she's such a part of him, and that my other child's such a part of him, it makes me happy, that part.
When you leave the face of this earth, all you leave are your children. That's your legacy. Melissa brought a lot of joy into our lives. My inner peace with Melissa's death might come from the fact that I spoke to her. I find a lot of pleasure knowing that Melissa called me, knowing that we were able to say our last goodbyes, basically. I got to talk to Melissa in person, I'll take that to my grave.